pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
So Ryan and I came to the decision to get life insurance when I was pregnant with our first son. He really wanted us to be taken care of if something happened to him. He provided for our family in life and also after his death. I think that would make him proud. Ethos makes it fast and easy to get life insurance. Apply in minutes and get same-day coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Now that spring is here, it's time for some spring home maintenance.
That's cold!
Hot water issues? Call CenterGuard Plumbing. Right now, get a new 40-gallon atmospheric vent water heater installed for just $1,295 standard installation, or a 50-gallon for $1,395 standard installation with free haul away of your old tank. A proud sponsor of AM 560, you'll save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on tankless and atmospheric vent water heaters with CenterGuard Plumbing. Plus, get 10% off any licensed plumbing contractor competitor's price. CenterGuard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive spring special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit centerguardplumbing.com.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family-owned with integrity since 1981.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering 24/7 security solutions for homes and businesses. Call them today at 708-889-5600.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson.
Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. It's Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson here at the microphones and ready to tell you a little bit more about what's going on in the state and the local level. And you know what? We've also got some national issues to uncover. And this one comes from the Daughters of the American Revolution. How appropriate in America's 250th birthday celebration that finally the Daughters of the American Revolution are going to vote on a definition of what a woman is.
Yay.
So
I'm a DAR. I'm a Daughter of the American Revolution.
I did not know that.
Yeah. We trace back to the Minutemen, but I did not join the organization here in Illinois. But I might join it in Utah because they seem a little more level-headed. But I'm going to take a vote. I know what a woman is.
You do? Well, here's the deal. They had a lot of, for a while, according to this report in the Daily Signal, the Daughters of the American Revolution currently allows men who identify as women to join, but the group will vote on a resolution to reverse that policy and formally define a woman. Members of the Daughters of the American Revolution will take a historic vote to define the word woman on Friday, June 26th, at Memorial Continental Hall in Washington, D.C., said Laura McDonald, founder and president of DAR and member of DAR since 2018. Daughters all across the country have relentlessly pursued all avenues and have succeeded in their demand for this historic vote.
Yeah, no, I knew
As
it was
if you
coming.
have to define what a woman is.
Right. Well, then we could start with my sorority, too, because my sorority let a man in at University of Wyoming. And so they're going to redefine what a woman is, too.
Well, good for them.
Yeah. But I mean, it was not uncomfortable because he claimed he was a woman. He's 6'4" dude, would sit there outside the shower with a towel around his waist with an erection. I mean, it was disgusting. And I know a lot of a very big donor.
Any more detail?
Well, a
Amy?
very large donor, 6-figure donor. 7-figure donor to the Kappa Kappa Gamma sorority. She heard that story. She is not giving them a dime ever again.
Yeah,
because of that.
Well,
I mean, this is what our culture has become. We're redefining anything. You're not homeless. You're unhoused. You're not Latino. You're Latinx, which I will never use that word. I can't even believe I just said it on the radio. But
you did.
Yeah, we're in clown world now.
Well, the resolution provided by the Daily Signal argues that the bylaws, which state that eligibility only applies to women, should be interpreted in accordance with the intention of the society at the time the bylaw was adopted. There is no question the DARS founders in 1890 did not envision men identifying as women as eligible for membership. No kidding. But unfortunately, in the state of Illinois, it's crazy town here. Not only did we have the bill about construction work sites having to provide private spaces for women and people who menstruate, they're still using that type of language.
Well, there's tampons in boys' bathrooms. And guess what happened in Illinois, in the state of Illinois, not just Tampon Tim in Minnesota. And guess what happened? One school, I'm not going to say what name, the toilets were clogged up in the boys' bathroom because they took them and used them as little rocket propellers and, just clogged up all the bathrooms.
Well, conservative state reps still try to catch the Democrats in their nonsense on the state house floor, and I appreciate their efforts in that. But honestly, we have to stop the nonsense that's going on in the school systems because it is really a problem. And then you've got this, incredible, I don't know how many words this guy spilled of ink in this Chicago Sun-Times article about school districts and trans kids pay for anti-trans lawsuits cropping up across the U.S. And, of course, the focus of this entire diatribe by the Chicago Sun-Times was that shame on the people that are suing because their girls are subjected to boys in their locker room. Shame on them because you're costing at least Deerfield 109 almost $360,000 last year. And this is what this entire article is about. It's all about how much parents are suing these school districts over their woke, stupid policies because they want their girls protected in the locker room. And, they can't take it. So Sun-Times comes out with this article, and I'll have a little bit more about the author of that article in a minute. But right now I wanted to bring in Marcia McClurry. She is the chapter founder or the chapter leader for Moms of Liberty up in Lake County, Illinois. She's a mother of 5, and she has raised the alarm about this issue many times over. And so we welcome her to bring us an update about what's happening in D109 and talk about the multiple lawsuits there. Marcia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me, Lee?
Yes, we got you. So what is the latest on the D109? Because this entire Chicago Sun-Times article focused on D109 and the cost to the taxpayers.
Yeah, so there's an ongoing case, and this was 7th grade girls being required to share the locker room with a male, and it's still going on, and it's really egregious. And they even have a single-use facility, gender neutral, that the students can use, and they insisted that this boy still be allowed to use the shared girls space. So one of the families is suing, and she is in our chapter up in Lake County for Moms for Liberty.
Yeah, so that's Nicole Georges. It's her daughter who refused to change for gym class after seeing another student, a trans girl, actually a boy, in the locker room. And she alleged that administrators made her daughter change in front of them and other students. Now, I got some private information that this particular student, this trans student, that this person's parent is actually a Deerfield 109 district employee. It appears to me they would have a conflict of interest in, obviously supporting a district employee student over just a regular student. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, precisely. This is information I didn't know until more recently as well.
But it
so
hasn't come out
seems to be
publicly.
a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it has not come out publicly. I thought that would be important for people to understand that the district's supporting their own employee in this case. Now, the Sun-Times says that so far that the district paid $358,000 to navigate the legal challenges and related expenses. Yep. It's equivalent to 37% of the federal funds it received last year. Should we feel bad for them, or should they just change their policy?
They should just change the policy. And, the crazy thing about it is one of the things the girls even said to the staff, hey, we just won't change. How about that? That's a good compromise. And they did that for a few days at least. And then they changed their mind and said the girls had to change. So I think that the girls were more than accommodating of this. And they do have the taxpayer paid for single-use bathroom to use as well for whoever is not comfortable. So this is really, it's unbelievable.
But the transgender student isn't using that single use because she wants to be a girl and is going into the locker room and will not leave the locker room. That's the problem.
Right. And, with all these policies like this, I mean, there's nothing to stop any boys or men from going in there because the policy is open to that. And that is what happened also in Libertyville as well. There was a man that went into the girls' locker room. So, this has just got to change.
It absolutely does. And you know what, though? Everybody is hiding behind the state and the state policy on this. This is Macaulay King, as a reminder, in the committee hearing last week with Congressman Onder, asking her specifically about the policies about biological men and women's bathrooms.
Do you believe that biological men should be allowed in locker rooms with biologic women? It's a yes or no question.
With all due respect, I'm here to respond to the policies of Chicago Public Schools and our operations.
And is it the policy of Chicago Public Schools to forbid biological men, boys, to go into locker rooms with biologic girls?
The Chicago Public Schools policy is in alignment with Illinois law.
There you go.
Yes or no? Can boys and men go into girls' locker rooms in the Chicago Public Schools? Yes or no?
Any student, gender identity
I take that as a yes.
So you've probably been around. In fact, I know that Moms for Liberty has been around to a lot of these particular places, and they are all hiding behind state guidelines. Am I correct?
Correct. They are. And yeah. And, I will say that there are a lot of schools, especially downstate, that are not following these guidelines. So it can be done. It is being done. So I think the ones up here are a little afraid of the exposure, and they're following them, even the ones that don't want to.
So what is the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights doing?
So they are pursuing selectively some of these schools. Obviously, they have, only so many resources to go around. And they're also looking at them in other states. I think you've seen some from California. So they are doing it. The question is, what's the status of some of these cases? We're not completely sure the status of the Deerfield case with them at this point, but we've been inquiring.
So they did come up with some report, like 36 school districts in Illinois are being looked at by the DOJ. Are you in contact with any of the parents there? Do you know anything about those cases?
So I am aware of a few of those. So a lot of that was around hiding the change in identity. So, a student would be asking to change their name and pronouns at school, and the school was not informing the parents. So I'm aware that, and that's a little different than the locker room issue, but it's extremely concerning, from a parental rights perspective, that the school isn't communicating what the students are asking like this. So I'm aware that several of them are that kind of scenario, or, reportedly.
Did Nicole Georges, did she keep her daughter at the school, or did she homeschool her after that?
No, she's homeschooled now.
Okay.
And then what about this transgender student? He's moving on to high school now?
I think so. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I believe that he is. I believe he graduated eighth
so.
grade, but I also got, you're not going to believe this. I also got some insider information about how he has essentially dressed as a furry and been allowed to basically violate the student policy on dress code, and walk around as a furry in middle school. This is middle school. I don't know. I don't know what parents are thinking up there in Deerfield, but this is the type of stuff that has to stop.
Yeah, I mean, and it really doesn't help the student, because they're, thinking it just, they probably need a lot of mental help and counseling. And so, yeah.
All right. Well, Nicole, I'm sorry, Marsha, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on The Real Story. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you ladies exposing this and talking through these big issues that are affecting a lot of the students.
All right. Thank you so much. And coming up on The Real Story, yes, he has been charged with a hate crime. What should his punishment be? The latest on the Grant Park cross burner right after the break.
You're listening to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Stuck in Illinois? Between the taxes, the politics, the weather, it's exhausting. But leaving isn't as simple as packing up and going. That's where leavingil.com comes in. We help you create a smart step-by-step plan so you don't make the wrong move at the wrong time. Start with our quick exit readiness assessment today. Go to leavingil.com. That's leavingil.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
If you've saved $100,000 or more for retirement, call Steve Shyman today at 833-945-7283. That's 833-WILL-SAVE, 833-WILL-SAVE. Schedule your no-cost, no-obligation retirement review and make sure your plan is built to protect what you've worked so hard to earn. And don't forget to listen to Steve's show, Protecting Your Assets, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. right here on AM 560. Call now, 833-945-7283.
It is that time of year again to save babies by providing ultrasounds with our friends at Preborn. You know how this goes. We've done it every single year at this time. All you have to do is pick up the phone and say, I want to provide a free ultrasound to a girl. Give her the chance to see the truth of what's happening in her body. Every $28 helps do that, saving one baby. $280 can do that, helps save 10 babies. More does more. The phone number is 833-850-2229. 833-850-BABY. Join us saving babies with Preborn again this year. We're going to save hundreds of babies, one at a time, 2 or 5 or 10 at a time. That phone number again is 833-850-BABY. That's 833-850-2229. Or go online to 560theanswer.com/baby.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and covered selections.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, welcome back. We want to get to some more stories, but I wanted to just clean up a little something here and add some context on this Sun-Times article, about school district people and, schools complaining about having to pay for their trans lawsuits. Too bad. Change your policy. It started out with this beginning. For Pat Green, facing a tense school board meeting on behalf of transgender students last year was the same old, same old. The Willowbrook resident spent 2012 through 2014 in school board meetings for Palatine, Lockport, Naperville, and elsewhere, speaking up for past trans youth. His son, who is trans, was once hospitalized after months of bullying culminated in him being shoved into a locker. His injuries required staples, blah, blah, blah. I remember the fear of wondering if I was going to lose my son, Green said. Green started attending these meetings on and on. Lose his sons. Well, I mean, obviously what he means is, would he lose them to suicide possibly? Because there's another major transgender suicide study that it completely crumbled. That's right. The Nature of Human Behavior published a study titled State-Level Anti-Trans Laws Increase Past Suicide Attempts Among Transgender and Non-Binary Young People in USA. City Journal has this whole article. It's just recent, came out June 16th. So you can read it, but essentially this all fall apart. They basically claimed that more trans teens attempted suicide after states passed anti-trans law. That's what the study claimed. However,
what's the real story?
Yeah, exactly. However, the study's findings and conclusions later crumbled under scientific reexamination. Essentially, they observed the elevation in suicide attempts from a very small sample, roughly 100 youth in a single state, which was Idaho, at a time when the state's anti-trans laws were not even in effect. Completely bogus again. So,
well, that's what they told parents whose kids wanted to transition. Either you transition them or they're going to commit suicide.
Right.
That was the selling point.
Right.
And we know people personally that bought that line, hook, line, and sinker.
Well, Chloe Cole's parents did, and she will show up tonight, and she'll be at Drury Lane tonight for the Illinois Right to Life dinner, and she's going to be the keynote speaker and speak about her situation. But her parents were essentially told that.
Oh my gosh.
So another trans misinformation study out there, and you guys are going to let these people run your schools? Come on.
All right. UIC, if you have a student that's thinking about going to that school, I would look at other institutions because UIC, I'm convinced they're radicalized, not educating students. Merlin Liu, who went to UIC, he has been charged with a hate crime, folks, and arson, among some other charges. He'll be in court later today. We don't know if he'll be let out on electronic monitoring. We're not sure. But he charged with a hate crime, but he said, no, this wasn't a hate crime. He came forward to Chuck Gowdy on the I-team before he was arrested. He had sent them a video claiming he did it to end President Trump. He took a cross, as you may know, put a red MAGA hat on top of the cross, set it on fire with lighter fluid and toilet paper, not knowing that a burning cross is what the KKK used to do to Black Americans as a sign of intimidation. But here he is on the hate crime.
Was it a hate crime?
No, for sure not. In no way possible was that a hate crime. I do understand why it was interpreted that way, and I apologize for that, but no, the intent was not there.
But here's the thing. How do you not know that the KKK used to burn crosses? And this is great. I love this soundbite.
To me, that's not that important. Right. I don't really, to me, this issue is bigger than just myself.
Did you make it all the way through almost 4 years at UIC without somebody teaching you that a burning cross is one of the most divisive symbols in America?
No, I didn't. I don't really have any, I never grew up with religion, never really surrounded myself with people with it. My childhood friends, I remember them going to confirmation and stuff like that, but no,
it's a symbol of the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, that really is where it started. Nobody ever taught you that. You never read it in a history book. Nobody.
No. I just saw the Wikipedia page with the movie with the I think it's called under one nation or something like that.
Oh, just pathetic. How pathetic. But you know what?
He's also a grad from Neuqua Valley in Naperville.
I know they're just not educating; they're indoctrinating instead. And so they're not going to talk about this apparently. Shockingly, though, but you know what? Mayor Brandon Johnson thought it was a hate crime.
Oh, he did.
He said hate has no place in our city.
Oh, every
Chicagoan deserves to feel safe and protected.
Jeannie, at this press conference, he was given the fact that an Asian man set a cross on fire to protest Trump and saying that he wanted to end Trump. And this is the mayor's response.
Well, look, I can't speak to his lack of or understanding of the gravity of what he's alleged of having done. And again, it's a painful reminder of how hatred towards Black Americans still permeates, in our society. I think it was James Baldwin that said that power and ignorance is the most ferocious enemy of justice.
It's always about race with him, even when he was given the facts. Now, he could have said that, what the burning cross symbolizes, but he could also say, denounce violence against President Trump, but he would never do that.
No.
And the reason why I say be careful sending your kids to U of I don't want anyone to forget what happened in Washington, D.C. 2 Israeli embassy staff members were at an American Jewish Committee event, and Elias Rodriguez, UIC grad from 2018, flew there and killed them. And they were a beautiful young couple. And he did it because of Free Palestine. That's what he shouted out afterwards. So again, they're not being educated. They are being radicalized at UIC. Be careful where you send your kids and your grandkids.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft.
I'm a little concerned about the proposal that New York Governor Kathy Hochul, the legislation she signed, targeting speeders statewide. If you get 16 or more violations within a year period, you're required to install a, quote, intelligent speed limiter technology to restrict the car's maximum speed to the posted speed limit. 16 is a lot. Did I get 3 in a week? Maybe 2 in a day and 3 in a week. But anyway, that was a long time ago.
Chicago's Morning Answer. Weekday mornings starting at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. Hours after President Trump signed a deal with Iran, Saudi oil tankers are sailing through the Strait of Hormuz. Vice President J.D. Vance.
On the military side, the Iranians, for the second night in a row, did not shoot at any ships in the Strait of Hormuz. So far, they are honoring their end of the commitment.
Vance says more than 12.5 million barrels went through the shipping channel last night. And we got a Supreme Court ruling this morning.
Whether or not you could go after someone who you discovered was a habitual drug user, in this case marijuana, and that disqualify them from owning or possessing a gun. The court has got a unanimous opinion, essentially. There are all kinds of factions and concurrences, but nobody's dissenting here, saying that the prosecution of this individual or going after this individual based on his drug usage and gun ownership violates the Second Amendment.
Fox's Shannon Bream. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect a mix of clouds and sun with a chance of a passing shower. The high will reach 74. Tonight will be mainly clear with a low of 57. Tomorrow's looking mostly sunny and pleasant with a high of 78. As for Saturday, anticipate a beautiful day with a blend of sunshine and a few clouds, reaching a high of 80. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon, CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
The mainstream media isn't just biased. They're hiding stories from you, deliberately. Restoration News is changing that. With elite researchers and fearless writers, Restoration News is the conservative media force fighting back in the information war for America's future. Download the Restoration News mobile app today or visit restoration-news.com. That's restoration-news.com. Real stories, real truth. It's time you knew what they don't want you to know.
Temperatures are rising, and so are concerns about inflation, market volatility, and taxes.
Revisit your financial plan this summer. VestGen Wealth Partners work with individuals to develop personalized plans that help navigate changing conditions with confidence. Visit GetRetiredStayRetired.com to learn more.
Advisory services offered through VestGen Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Private Client Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. Private Client Services and VestGen Advisors, LLC are unaffiliated entities. Any information discussed does not constitute investment advice. VestGen Advisors and Private Client Services do not offer tax legal advice.
All right, last year I hired Level 10 Coatings to give my garage floor a total makeover, and I'm still loving it. It still looks great, shiny and clean, easy to clean as well. Level 10 Coatings, you got to call these guys if your garage floor is cracked, uneven, stained. And don't worry if you have junk in your garage. They'll move it, do the floor, and then put the stuff back. So you don't have to live like that with a bad garage. Get it down now so you can enjoy this summer. And with Father's Day coming up, what a gift that would be for Dad. Level 10 Coatings, they're fast, reliable, highly professional. I went to work, I came home, and the job was done. A shiny new gleaming garage floor, a quick and easy fix, permanent durable solution, guaranteed to never chip. Why? Well, it's not an epoxy job. They use polyurea, which is far superior to epoxy. So schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, to receive $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10coatings.com. They do garages, basements, outdoor spaces, commercial properties, not only in the Chicagoland area, Northwest Indiana, but also Southwest Michigan. Any job, big or small, they coat them all. Level 10 Coatings, the number 10. The website, I should say, is level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10coatings.com. Or simply call this number, 855-510-2628. 855-510-2628. Staff are local and ready to answer any questions. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at two different options, debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
AM 560, The Answer.
A lot of text messages pouring in, Jeanne and Amy, they should make him watch the movie Mississippi Burning. That's a good one. Another one from the Amish texter, 847 area code. I shouldn't find that hard to believe. UIC, that is where Bomber Bill Ayers used to be a professor.
Good point.
That all makes sense. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to Jim in Northbrook. You're on The Real Story. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jeanne and Amy. Tomorrow is one of the great Republican holidays, Juneteenth. You know, for 2 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, over 250,000 Americans were denied their rights as citizens by the Democrat Party and their accomplished media. Major General Gordon Granger occupied the city of Galveston on June 19, 1865. He arrived with over 2,000 Union troops and issued General Order Number 3, which states the people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of rights and rights of property between former master and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. This began a long tradition of federal troops being sent into Democrat-controlled areas to restore civil rights. Of course, we remember Eisenhower sending troops into Little Rock in 1957, but federal troops had to come into the South to destroy the KKK, night riders, and other and voting rights issues that the Southern Democrats were not allowing American citizens to perform.
Well, hey, Jim, we appreciate that information. You're exactly right. We should consider it a Republican holiday where we freed the Democrats' slaves. And guess what, though? The tables have been turned upside down. It is now Democrats in Evanston that instead want to give reparations to blacks who were never enslaved and make whites who never enslaved anybody pay for it.
Yeah, but this week with Juneteenth here on Friday, the federal government, Jeannie, asked a judge to halt the United States' first reparations program ever. Of course, that was in Evanston. They offered black people $25,000 for 20th century race-based housing discrimination. So the program launched in 2021, and already $7 million had been awarded to people, and they can use that money for home repairs, down payments on property, interest or late penalties on property in the city of Evanston. So they have to live in the city of Evanston, and this smelled from the get-go.
Yeah, and they had to only live there at least between 1919 and 1969 is my understanding.
And many thought it was unconstitutional, including our next guest, attorney Michael Bekesha, who works at Judicial Watch. Excuse me, words are hard today. Judicial Watch. Michael, how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell us about why you filed the lawsuit and on behalf of whom.
Yeah, so Judicial Watch 2 years ago sued the city of Evanston on behalf of 6 individuals who would have qualified for the $25,000 but for the color of their skin. So the Evanston program is extremely outrageous and racist. It's pretty straightforward. If an individual lived in Evanston between 1919 and 1969, or an individual's great-grandparents, grandparents, or parents lived in Evanston between 1919 and 1969, and they are Black or African-American, the city of Evanston will provide those individuals with $25,000 cash. And the program has developed in such a way that that $25,000 can be used for anything. At no point do the individuals have to demonstrate that they were discriminated against or harmed by any laws or any actions taken by Evanston. They simply need to raise their hand, fill out an application, and say, I lived in Evanston for 2 days at some point during that 50 years, and I'm Black, and Evanston will hand them $25,000 in cash.
So basically the DOJ joined your lawsuit?
That's correct. The Department of Justice, on behalf of the United States, filed a motion the other day asking the court to allow them to join our lawsuit, to be a co-plaintiff along with the 6 individuals that we represent.
And where does your lawsuit stand now?
We are moving on to discovery, and so we filed the lawsuit 2 years ago. Of course, the city of Evanston moved to dismiss the case on technical procedural grounds. The court denied that motion 3 months ago, and we are moving towards discovery with hopes that a trial date would be set, in the next 12 to 18 months.
How much are they going to have to spend? Because we just talked about the school districts complaining that they had to spend money to defend against these, their trans policies that are idiotic in middle school. And so now you're going to have the city of Evanston taxpayers have to spend lots of money to defend an obviously racist policy. Do you know what that's going to? Yeah.
We don't know how much it's going to be. I imagine at some point the city of Evanston is going to report that to its citizens, but they went out and hired, one of the largest law firms in Chicago to defend it, so it's not going to be cheap.
And where is the revenue coming from? They said that already $7 million have been doled out to residents.
Marijuana sales. So taxes that are being placed on marijuana dispensaries, that money, a percentage of that money is going to dole out the reparations along with real estate tax transfers for properties over $1 million.
Okay.
So reparations, it's been a hot button issue across the country. Evanston was the very first city to hand out reparations. What other cities are working on that or following their lead?
Yeah, so it's interesting. When Evanston first did this, everybody around the country, cities and states, were thinking about they were going to follow suit. Judicial Watch sued, and no city or state has implemented a program quite like it since that point. So a lot of cities and states, I mean, the city of Chicago, San Francisco, the state of California, state of New York, they've been looking at the issue of reparations and giving money based on race, but no one has actually implemented any program. And I would say it's because of Judicial Watch lawsuit. You know, we highlighted the unconstitutional nature of doing that. And so they've put their implementation on pause. And with the federal government now joining in our lawsuit, I imagine that's going to also put the brakes on a lot of additional programs.
Well, they should fold right away because already the state of Illinois has been sued in a number of cases by other public interest law firms, and they have folded too when it came to their race-based teaching scholarship. They folded when it came to, their race-based higher education funding plan. They knew that was going to be challenged. I wrote a definitive story about that. And they never put that forward. Instead, they just redefined the targeted population for that funding to those who are in disadvantaged areas. So this is kind of how they run those numbers. Now, in this case with Evanston, even wealthy blacks, it had no disadvantaged moniker to it. It was even wealthy blacks could receive this type of $25,000 benefit. So but honestly, they should fold. The state of Illinois has had to fold in the wake of all this, and they should see the writing on the wall.
They absolutely should, but based on all the statements I've seen this week from the mayor and members of the city council, that it doesn't seem as though they're going to.
Well, let's talk about the city of Evanston. I mean, 14%, roughly 76,000 residents are black. So do you have any profiles of the people who've received the $25,000 in reparations?
We don't. They haven't really released the information about who is receiving the money, only the numbers of people that are receiving them.
Well, who decides who gets what? I mean, is there a reparations panel they have to go in front of?
There is. The program's designed for essentially two administrators that have processed the applications to the best of our understanding, and their interviews, and then they are provided there's approval or not. But as far as I can tell, very few applications were rejected, at least for those individuals that currently live in Evanston, that lived in Evanston between 1919 and 1969 and are black. If they applied, almost all of them got the money. And now they're moving on to those that great-grandparents, grandparents, and parents lived in Evanston between 19 and 1969. And, that's a larger group of people, and they're slowly moving their way, handing out those essentially $25,000 in cash.
And they're not publishing the names. Nobody can find out. There's no transparency on who's getting this taxpayer money.
As far as I can tell, they have not published the names, and there doesn't seem to be any indication that they're going to.
But it says the money should be used to down payment on property, or if use it for home repairs. Is there any accountability to what they're spending the money on? Or once they cut you the check, you can just do whatever you want?
So originally that's how the program was designed, and people were unhappy that they couldn't spend the money the way they wanted. And so they changed the program for creating, essentially a $25,000 check. And while there were discussions about whether or not they should do this, there was frank discussions about would there be an enforcement mechanism or an oversight mechanism in how the money would be spent. And the answer was no. And so Evanston changed their program so that the money could be spent any way the individual chooses.
Now, if you're victorious in this lawsuit, do they have to give the money back?
They won't have to give the money back. So the lawsuit asked for the program to be stopped, for race to be stop using race as an eligibility factor. And if that were the case, then our clients would be eligible, and they too would receive $25,000.
But
and
when
we thought,
Go ahead.
And we
Sorry.
filed on behalf of, no, we filed it as a class action. So, the idea is anybody that lived in Evanston between 1919 and 1969, and anyone that great-grandparents, grandparents, or parents lived in Evanston between 1919 and 1969, all those people would be part of the class and would be eligible for a $25,000 payment from the city of Evanston.
Okay, back to the original purpose, though. When they approved this program, it was a local reparations restorative housing program because they knew they would have a hard time directly connecting any harm to any of these current residents from actual, slavery, to call it reparations in that sense of the word. So instead, they came up with this idea that, people were redlined when it came to housing. And so that's why this whole idea about it should be about housing and repairs and down payments. And so they've completely negated that, and they're just handing out $25,000 to people. Is that what's going on now?
That is what's going on. And I'd even say, they tried to tie it to redlining into housing, but some of the academic studies that are out there regarding Evanston during this time period showed that Evanston was probably one of the most favorable places in Illinois, in the suburbs, for Black residents to purchase a home because the banks and realtors and businesses wanted more Black families builders want more people to buy homes. Mortgage lenders want more people to take out mortgages. And there was a whole area in Evanston where Black families got better mortgage rates than white families. And so there's a real question about whether or not even tying the program initially to housing was really remedying any discrimination that was done by the city of Evanston.
Well, this is a classic Dan Biss deal. It's all one big head fake, one big scam. Just like, he supported, the whole idea that somebody got taken by ICE up in Wisconsin, and he stood there with them, and they did the whole
Save Sonny
crap.
And that was all
that.
a lie. That was a hoax.
So, this guy is one hoaxer after another, and now he's running for Congress, and more than likely will be in Congress as Jan Schakowsky's replacement. It's so depressing, quite frankly, but maybe this story also wakes some voters up. We'll see. All right. Attorney Michael Bekesha from Judicial Watch, congratulations. I'm sure you're having a victorious day today, knowing that the DOJ has joined your lawsuit. Thank you so much, and we'll have you back and keep us updated on the situation.
Thank you so much. All
right, coming up, congratulations, Illinois. We just became the first state to tax crypto transactions. That, and we'll take your phone calls, 312-642-5600.
Don't believe the official narrative? You've got the real story on AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy. Pretty much hands off, They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to a call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Well, J.B. Pritzker crowing about his budget yesterday, saying everything's hunky-dory in the state of Illinois. It's not. Here he goes. Oops.
This budget reflects that steadfast commitment, lowering costs, expanding opportunity, investing in our children, growing our economy, and maintaining the fiscal responsibility that has transformed Illinois' financial outlook. This is a budget that helps Illinoisans who are struggling with the costs of groceries and housing and energy. It's a budget that helps Illinoisans looking to get a job, buy a home, start a family, pursue their education, launch a business. This is a budget for Illinois' future, even as the federal government works to take us backward. We won't go back.
A budget for Illinois' future.
Just went to my happy place. Wait, is he done?
Yeah, he's done. A budget for Illinois' future. And then Chris Welch is out there saying, oh, this reflects our morals. Well, then your morals are all about tax increases and record spending. That is what you morally agree to. And in the wake of all of this, though, we've got some very angry people in the crypto market as they have learned that they're going to be taxed.
Oh, yeah. Illinois is now the first state in the country to impose tax on cryptocurrency transactions. And the industry, of course, is not happy about it. What it means, it's called the digital asset tax. 0.2% privilege tax on what the legislation calls digital asset business activity. So it defines that any single occurrence of exchanging, transferring, or storing a digital asset as part of the business or behalf of a customer. So you don't even have to live in Illinois. Let me just real quickly go through this. The law applies to any firm that is physically based in Illinois or that provides digital asset services to an Illinois resident with total gross receipts of at least $100,000 annually for those services. Does that make sense? So,
well, the goal here is to raise $60 million. Of course, this came in the revenue package.
And a lot of people didn't see this. Well, the average Joe in Illinois did not see this coming. They didn't study the budget.
Well, no, they didn't. And then you've got all these crypto guys apparently belly aching right now, being big crybabies. And I want to say, why don't you pay attention to the politics sometime in the state?
Where were they before? Where are their lobbyists? I mean, were they in Springfield? Were they helping out?
I don't know. When they want what they want, and they go down there and they find a lobbyist when they think that they're okay and they're not paying attention, they don't care and they don't get involved and they don't invest in like Republicans who actually would oppose all of this. Oh no, they don't do that. They wait until after the fact and then they want to cry. Now I've gotten some indication from other people that are more informed than I am about this that it'll almost definitely affect CBOE and jump trading in Chicago. Jump is huge and potentially most affected. So I guess this is going to be cause for much concern and possibly movement out of the state for this industry because they're not going to put up with this tax. It makes them uncompetitive to be here.
Yeah. And also we have to update you too about Alderman Lopez. Remember, he was on the show earlier this week talking about the Parental Rights Act, where parents will be held accountable if their son or daughter goes to a teen takeover. And as predicted, it fell down. 32 Alder people voted against it.
I don't think it's a personal loss for me, but it's a loss for the city of Chicago. City Council had the opportunity today to say that we will hold parents accountable, that we will hold the youth accountable when they engage in this behavior, and that we will hold adult organizers of these events accountable. And 2/3 of the City Council said that is not a priority for them. So I hope summer goes well in the city of Chicago in their wards, but we've seen already a dozen of these events in people's wards who voted no. They will have to answer to their voters and their residents why they said no, why they said accountability doesn't matter, because we won't be able to address anything similar until fall. And by then we'll have seen how the entire summer played out.
Well, I guess we will see how the summer plays out, but it's pretty unfortunate that they didn't try to do something in this regard.
Right. And Alderman Hopkins has been trying for so long to have, the curfew enforced. And that's not working because there's too many kids. Right?
Yeah.
Thousands show up.
Well, Ray said that at least 6 people that aldermen voted against his measure who have been out there frequently complaining about teen takeovers and to do something. I think Conway was included in that number as well. He's a faker.
Yeah, don't be fooled by him,
Yeah,
please.
one more quick mention, and we'll do more about this in future, stories here. But the Chicago Fire Stadium is about to get a $425 million subsidy from Mayor Brandon Johnson in TIF funds, and they couldn't find funds for the Bears.
Oh,
what is going on? This is not American football. This is soccer.
Oh, I know. You hate soccer. Dan hates soccer. The World Cup's on, Jeannie.
No, the
you should fall in love with soccer right now.
$425 million for Chicago Fire, 0 for the Bears.
They're going to go to Hammond. I would. Of
course they were.
If I owned the company and saw that headline, nope. Goodbye, Illinois. Hello, Indiana. All right. Thank you so much for making us part of your morning. We're back here tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. God bless and God bless America.
Twitchy.com brings you the latest in social news, highlighting and reacting to important